Hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones, how are you guys doing today? How's life? So last episode I did mention that we're going to have a fission reactor, and I changed my mind. We need to work a bit on our infrastructure and we are going to start with power. And by power, I mean the ultimate solar panel. Just to be able to forget about power forever, in this mod pack at least, we're gonna have 2 of them. That does mean that I'm going to require 2600 Infinity 3, which I can't make. So one problem is gold. We're going to dupe it. The other problem is our dwindling supply of nether stars. As a very temporary fix, we do have some data models from withers and all of them are self-aware. We're going to combine them and hopefully that's going to give us a decent supply of nether stars. It might need a bit of an upgrade, because it was working at 10%. 10% is just garbage. I want it now. Another thing is that while everything is cooking up, we have to fix our blood altars. I did mention that we're going to have 2 of them, one for making the items and one for running the rituals. But in this mod pack, I don't think we have any rituals. At least nothing that will be useful. So if that is the case, let us try to fix the other blood altar as well. So I made the second altar and for some reason it looks and functions way better. It has a huge buffer. I don't know what I messed up over here. But we need blood in order to operate it, so let's go to the nether and we're going to start spawning a few withers. You know, I need the data models. Okay. Okay, so, a bit of a problem. I need one more. Well, I need 12 data models is the thing. Yeah, we're good. Also, you guys probably know the drill. I have to do this 5 more times. And I thought maybe we should finish this faster. Now that we have our data models, I'm trying my best to upgrade them to self-aware. It's a bit of a slow process because I only have one simulator modeling, so I have to do this one by one. But the reason that I got the data models was for the second altar, so that we would be able to automate Infinity 4. So as usual, we have some virtual sacrificers, we link them to our altar. We don't have to fly. We can just do it like this. And somebody actually left me a very important comment that wither data models give you double the amount of blood inside the virtual sacrificers than ender dragons. This is why I got extra withers. And thank you, wise person. We just provide everything with power and we should be getting blood. Maybe not. Power is an issue. There is a limit on how much power a draconic energy crystal can transfer and I think we have already hit that limit. So we power them through an entangled block. And yeah. Now we're getting blood. In order to get blood a bit faster, we're also going to surge them. And at every iteration, we're getting 9 buckets of blood. That's amazing. Also, just as a bit of a progress update, I have ordered 1000 Infinity 3. It's a bit expensive, I know. But as I have already mentioned, what we want to do is to automate Infinity 4. So let's take our setup from here. This one I'm going to use it for slates because it does have speed runes. It's going to be exactly the same setup, but since I want to hide all the cabling, we're going to entangle the blood altar. And if we have a pattern provider like so, that's going to be our entire automation. And we just want to have an import bus with Infinity 4. We want to be able to constantly craft this. That's the whole point. I just made a pattern that goes inside the pattern provider. And can I have 100 Infinity 4s? It should go into the dropper every 5 seconds to the altar. Lovely. Oh, yeah, that's a thing in this mod pack. I don't know why. I just enabled blocking mode on the pattern provider. What can you do? Also in the comment section of the last episode, somebody mentioned that I should probably automate this using integrated dynamics. We should read how much blood is in there, then insert the ingot, take it out, read it again, and you know, go on a loop. You don't actually need to come up with a complicated system. All you need is a comparator. You know, it reads the blood. And besides, this is exactly the same system. We just know the time. Which actually now it can be a bit less, because we have better blood. Yeah, now it's every 4 seconds, but so far until Infinity 7, everything is automated. You see, we don't have the resources, but at least the system knows what we're missing. So one of the reasons that the production of Infinity 1 is very slow is this one, end steel. Compared to normal speeds, we're actually making it really fast, but it's not fast enough. For having our passive setup, we are going to have a dimensional pocket. And our first passive setup is going to be for the alloys from Ender.io. So we are going to need 9 alloy smelters. So that is our 9 alloy smelters. Each one of them is going to receive an export bus, exporting the ingredients into them. So ideally what we want to try and do is to use a sub-network, because later on we are going to have EMC links and well, we don't have to hook it up to our applied energetic system. Right now we are a bit poor, so who cares? And I can't have like 10 energy condensers. That's the whole point. One of the small problems that I have is that, well, you can't dig down, but you can fly. I needed an anchor, but we are going to have an interface. We are going to export all the ingredients like so. This is a bigger interface. This is why we can have way more. And yes, I do understand it's just the one, but we can double it to 1 stack. And also for the moment, let's order some energetic alloy. But yeah, this is going to be a super easy sub-network. like so. There are like 5 silicons in this mod pack and all of them are not very compatible. All I'm trying to say is that I made a boo-boo with the filtering, but now we're fine. Everything is working and everybody's making us alloys. They're going to export to the top and they're going to receive a drawer. We're just going to lock each and every one of them so that it doesn't get messed up. And we're also going to have a storage controller. You know, with a storage bus. Although the main question is that what is your range? Obviously not enough. So if I give you a copper upgrade, is it gonna be better? Not really. Did you know that is perfectly fine? We just go with netherite. Now we're perfect. And now we should have access to them in our applied energy stick system. And it will passively produce us all the ingots. We had the same system in Project Ozone and it does work fine. You stopped. Yes. Soul sand. You might think that passive production of 9 resources is a bit stupid, but don't you worry. I also made that. And unfortunately, yeah, it's not symmetrical because I don't have cinnabar for one of the ingots. And besides, all of these have singularities, so I don't mind having a buffer. Some of them are a bit slow, but we can improve them. Maybe a bit more, and maybe more. Okay, it's fully upgraded. Also, I have realized I made a slight miscalculation about the ultimate solar panel. We don't need 2600 Infinity 4, we just need 24 Infinity 6. And that's it. And we have it. So let's go and assemble it, and yeah, I have to craft the controller. It's not fun. Before we start making the ultimate solar panel, I forgot to mention, yeah, we are making Invar passively, for example. We still have the ability to auto-craft it, and we are also going to have the seed. This is just to make my life easier. But this is the recipe for the solar panel. We just need to drop some ingots, and voila. No? What a jerk. So for future reference, pay attention to which blocks are you using. It's the ultimate solar block, not the ultimate block. And voila. You do get your runes back, so that's not a big deal. But we have the controller. And if nothing has gone wrong, the second one. Lovely. So ladies and gentlemen, that's our 2 solar panels, the ultimate version. And it is generating us 200 million RF. As you guys remember, I do have to assemble them with the null modifier, but now I guess we can switch it. With, you know, efficiency. Each one takes 24. Normally I would like to have them inside my own base, but these are not the prettiest thing. I'm sorry. But now it's generating us... What? What? I'm sorry again. What? That's 2 billion. Well, we can transfer 2 billion. Yes, so I guess the second one is redundant, because that is the maximum amount that we can transfer. Unless we change the channel. So the total amount that we're inputting is 4 billion RF. That's good, but it's generating us 146 billion RF. Okay, so there has been some changes. Now it's on top of the energy core, and there is a bit of a problem with this guy. So it does generate 140 billion RF per tick, which is crazy, and whichever method that I have used, I have tried so many of them, you can only transfer 2.1 billion. You know, the magic number. So using entangled blocks, putting it on top of an energy pylon, etc., I'm extracting almost 20 billion RF. So it's literally 10 times the power that I can use across my base. I have used P2P tunnels, I have used integrated dynamics, nothing works. It's only 2.1 billion. I did not find anything which is infinite, and no, we don't have cryo-stabilized flux ducts. Which is a shame, because in Project Ozone we did. So I'm just gonna leave it be, because it's still 10 times the power that I'm going to ever extract from the entire energy core. And I'm also not going to move it to the end, because I know somebody's going to mention that. This guy can make 140 billion RF per tick, and it has a capacity of 461 trillion RF. So it's like an induction matrix with infinite power. Even if it's nighttime, I'm still only draining the buffer, and I have to make the tower a bit bigger. But yeah, when I was making 2 of them, I made some calculation actually. After installing the speed upgrades on the Rosarium solar panel, it was generating 18 times more power. So I thought it's going to be almost the same with the ultimate, but it's way more. It's like 28 times more? And I guess you're also redundant? Anyways, I'm not gonna deal with power ever again. Let us move on to something else, a bit of blood magic. I need to upgrade my Tartaric gems because I want to be able to make a key. You already know what that is. My Tartaric gems are full, I have no idea what I was crafting, probably keys. So let's do some upgrades. It goes there. So we have transitions from the garbage Tartaric gems to the greater Tartaric gems. I do have to go and fill them up again. We can automate it like we did in Meatball Craft, but I don't think we ever need to. I don't want to spawn extra mobs, is the thing. This is such a cool thing. I wish we could have kept one as a pet. I did manage to fill in my Tartaric gems. I made half a stack more iron keys, so we have a total of 45. And I think that's enough miner's key. There's also a 4-man's key, but I think you have to find it as a loot. So here's the reason that I wanted the key. In order to make the reinforced ruins for the blood altar, what we're going to need is an intricate hellforged part. At first I thought, well, this is optional, we don't really need that. But we do, for the transmutation tablet. Because you need reinforced runes.
My lord, bone appetite.
Thank you. One of you in the comment section of the episode that we did the Endless Realm realized that I actually walked across one of the important gates. So I'm not gonna find it again, that's obvious. But we try. Also, should we like break these? Why not? This could take a while and it could be a bust, so let me do some exploration, I'll bring you back. And I try to keep my eyes open. Actually, that is interesting. In this room there's always something. Well, maybe there was always something. I don't see anything. You might notice we're out of the dungeons. We're flying around. You can easily do that, you can just break the blocks, go in, go out. The reason that we're outside is that I have been on Reddit trying to find how the key at least looks like, or is there any tips and tricks on how to find it, and voila. You see, each one of these things is a door, and well, we can open it with our normal keys. That one is different. They said that you can spot them way better if you're outside, and of course if you have generated enough dungeon. So we can't open it from the outside, we do have to go in. And yeah, he was right, I was here. So let's open it. Oh, then I need to find the key. I don't think I have ever done that, is the problem. My fellow lords and ladies of darkness, I spent hours and hours and hours inside the dungeon and I was not very successful. So I respawned another dungeon. I just did the ritual again, and literally when I entered this room, you feel a spatial distortion in this room. And I think that's the one. So our keys are not opening that, which is fine. We need to find the foreman's key. The reason that I redid everything is that I think I have missed something in the previous one. Aha, another spatial distortion. And this one has a different key. You see, it's a special lock, which I think we cannot open. Oh, we can open with a normal key. Foreman's key, finally. So, you will open? Ah, that should be the mines. Maybe not. Oh, we already found one. Okay, so you have to look for two spatial distortions, that's the point. One of them will have the key, the other one will have the door. But we have found more. And more miner's keys. Oh, this is its own dimension and you need the miner's key in order to open doors here. Where are you falling down? Actually, I found a decent number. Already 5. So is this a normal key or a miner's key? Okay, miner's key. Cool. We know what to do. I think we have to open every single door with a miner's key. I think. Because then we are going to get a mine. In any case, I'm going to need way more miner's keys. Because I just ran out. But we got 7 parts. I did manage to get a decent supply of Hellforged parts and I am going to do more exploration. But before doing that, there is a ritual that we can actually check. And you know which ritual it's going to be? The Falling Tower. Would I always miss the obsidian? No, this time we're not. Hopefully. I do remember that in all the mods 9 there was a ritual with the Falling Tower that you would get more intricate parts. It's a giant ritual. So if you guys remember, Falling Tower summons a meteor and it will contain ores. And since the meteor is actually going to hit the ground, we are going to have a block of obsidian, you know, somewhere up here, so that it doesn't hit the ground. I'm just testing this could be wrong. We have 780,000 LP, that's not much. The problem is that I have switched the blood altar, I have removed all the runes of the orb. And I do have a feeling we do need to have a few. Oh, I can increase the data models, yes. Because I think the original one is still working with dragon data models. Yeah, that is true. We just switched them. There's also a rune of acceleration. I need my orb. I hope it does what I think it does. So every time that you place a rune of acceleration down, it should improve the speed of the blood altar by 1 tick. So if it does something in 20 ticks, it will do it in 19. Maybe we need more. The problem is that I'm not exactly sure if it works on this. I mean for transfer of blood to the orb. Seems to be faster, no? Yeah, I think we should have the acceleration runes. And currently we have 8. And we're maxed out. So we need some runes of the orb. Actually, I do have the rune of the orb. I removed them. Can we make them intricate? Why not? Let's just waste 4. The rune of the orb makes it so that we can hold more LP in our orb. So that we can perform higher tier rituals. And the reason it's not charging is that I have the orb on me. Yeah, it's slow. Well, it's okay. I have to let it charge up. I think this place is chunk loaded. Yes. So I'll try to get more intricate parts. Yeah, I have lost a few keys, but we made our losses back. I got 4 Hellforged parts. But I just brought you in because do you notice those guys, the zombies with a hammer? That's called a nutcracker. The problem is that this dimension is like 1 block deep. then it's the void. So sometimes it does actually glitch you out. Not a big deal, you can jump back in, but still, very scary the first time. But all in all, if the meteor doesn't work, I think we can do this for a while. We don't need that many of them anyways. Yeah, you see? We already got 7. And 8. I have been trying to collect more parts and then I realized my blood is not improving. I had the wrong orb. This is the good one. And I'm making 2 of them. Yeah, we got the second one. That's going to be used for crafting. So while I'm waiting for some blood, I thought maybe we should visit our passive setup area. So all of the buffers are full and we have 32,000 of each and every ingot. That's not enough. So if there is a 1 gold upgrade, if we add 1 copper, then it's going to be 262,000. So that means we can have like 10 singularities. I did mention that today we are not going to make a reactor, but I'm waiting for blood. So we might as well make it. I have set everything on auto crafting, so this should go relatively fine, if I have not forgotten anything. Another thing that you might notice is that yeah, we are going to go with a garbage floating platform, and there is a reason for that. Cause here's the thing, my main goal is to try and get this fission reactor, right? It's from compact mechanism machines, so it's a fission reactor in 1 block. However, in order to make that, I'm going to need antimatter. How would you get antimatter? Obviously, it's the SPS chamber, right? But there's also another catch. So SPS chamber from 1000 millibuckets of polonium is going to give you 1 millibucket of antimatter. So in this modpack there is another multi-block called Event Horizon Antimatter Synthesizer. You know, this guy. So this guy actually does have a way better rate. Not way better, it's like 20% better. So 4 buckets of polonium gives you 5 millibuckets of antimatter. So you get a millibucket extra per 4 buckets. However, the problem is that in order to make that, you still need antimatter. So I can't make a reactor, break it down and modify it, because, you know, radiation is a thing. Therefore, our first reactor is just gonna be garbage. And no, it's not even going to be sodium cooled, because for heated sodium, I have a plan. Might be a garbage plan, but it is a plan. So don't you worry. Just think of this one as a research reactor. It's going to be 11 by 11 like so. And now that I'm thinking, I actually changed my mind. It's going to be 13 by 13. By hot hole, I have no idea. See how many blocks we have? But we're going to leave 1 block gap and then fill in the rods. And yeah, don't you worry, we can actually start making the SPS chamber as well. I'm gonna cheat it in. You know, yeah, I think this is tall enough. Also, the reason that we're not getting any mobs is that I have some lanterns and that's an angel block in the new version. I have assembled the reactor, I will show it to you in a moment, but as you guys remember, in order to get polonium, we had a GT setup. So polonium is not really a big deal, we have 500, we can have way more. Plutonium on the other hand, well, it could be a big deal. However, a few episodes ago, I did receive a comment that this fission reactor that we have in order to make neutronium doesn't really have to run. It is true that it's not running at this very moment, but I didn't listen to the comment. It was running for a while, and I was looking for this, plutonium-239. If you put that inside a pressurizer, you get plutonium pellets. That's it. We also got half a stack from a dungeon loot or something, but I don't think that really matters. Also, maybe I should make a pattern for this. I can't wait all day. Polonium and plutonium doesn't really matter for us, ever. We're just gonna have, I don't know, 2 solar neutron activators, and then we're straight going to convert that into antimatter. How many do we need? 81 SPS casings. Okay, we can make it. Awesome. I'm assuming also 2 valves, and obviously some reactor glass. Here the multi-tool seems to be wrong, but okay. Let's go to the reactor area. That is our reactor. And in order to provide it with water, I'm just using tanks with Evertide amulets. You know, the same setup that we did last episode. We're of course going to void the steam. We don't need power, we don't need the steam, I suppose. I have a quantum entangler porter for fissile fuel, which we can pump it in. Lovely. And let me try to assemble the SPS chamber. Thankfully this time we can use the tool. I guess here is fine. We just need a few more ports. 1 input, 1 output, 1 laser. Yeah, okay. I don't think we are ever going to need that, but we have 2 solar neutron activators in order to convert the nuclear waste into polonium. That goes inside the SPS chamber. I'm ignoring the limit on power. And this should be our antimatter. Now, the problem is that the reactor is garbage. So we start with 1 millibucket. And hope for the best. We're fine. Oh, we're already getting antimatter? Well, at a very garbage rate, but let's go to 5 millibuckets. Water is keeping up. I might have to add more tanks, that's the problem. 10 millibuckets. Okay, actually there is a cheaty way to understand. So this one is exporting water, this one as well, this one is not. So maybe we can go to around 50 millibuckets. Then again, maybe not. We need more tanks. is the thing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this might look a bit stupid, but remember, in this mod pack we don't have an infinite water source. I also tried prompts from a mod whose name I shall not mention, but they're garbage. But currently our burn rate is at 90 millibuckets per tick, and I guess we're fine. We're getting antimatter anyways. But most importantly, I have my blood. We do have to let this guy run for a while. We're not in a hurry. So let's try the Meteor ritual. We do have our obsidian. I don't think we have a better ritual activator. No. We activate, we drop. That didn't work. Maybe it was a costume recipe. Did I activate it? Yeah. So it can be diamonds, block of iron, glowstone dust, probably for nether ores, stone, dragon bone from ice and fire, certus quartz, andesite alloy should be create, copper wire coil, well we have neither, mechanism advanced alloy. So if I drop a prosperity shard, something should drop. Yes. So my main question is that, what happened to the obsidian? Maybe it was up too high. But the ritual seems to be fine. Yeah, good to know that it works. So I just went on the Discord of the mod pack and no, everybody has been asking for that recipe, but it's not being implemented. Well, the main issue is that you don't really need that many of them, so I guess it's not a priority. I mainly wanted it for my altars. You jerk. My fellow Dark Ones, for me it is the next day and I just replied to a very important comment. I love you. So I have been nagging for a few episodes that I have problems with this machine and well, it has 4 outputs. I'm an idiot. So inside we had thousands of awakened draconium blocks and draconic cores. And the worst part is that I think it was like 1 or 2 episodes ago that we set up these machines and I filled in the other outputs. I don't know, for this one it just didn't click. So thank you. You saved my life. Oh, there's the rest of the Meteor. Okay, but let's continue. What is the rest of the plan? So in something like Project Ozone, Ceftech, or even Grandma's Teeth, you have a questline which will guide you. This mod pack is still in development, so they're adding things, they're removing things, they're changing the quest book, and therefore you have to figure out your own way. My main concern was to get energy condensers. Where do we move on from now? That's a good question. So obviously our main goal is to try and get the infinity ingot so that we can make the creative items as well as the infinity armor. For that we are going to need a huge amount of infinity catalyst, and for that we are going to need a crazy amount of ultimate singularities, ultimate predictions and ultimate gems. However, in this mod pack, they don't want you to craft all the ultimate singularities. There is a seed for that. This seed basically gives you all the expensive blocks you need in order to finish the mod pack, right? How do you make the seed? Well, it's not cheap. Basically, we need every single essence from mystical agriculture, we need all the weird hearts, obviously we are going to need antimatter, we're going to need all the predictions, and obviously all the ingots. This doesn't look that bad, however, there's another ingot which goes into that ingot. Of course we are going to have other things as well, but this is our main goal. And long story short, we have to automate every single essence, every single prediction and every single ingot. This one I'm not worried about, it's every single gem, but we already have them. Except the ethereal slate. But we don't need much. Yeah, we just need like 1. But where do we start? Good question. I think we should start with the data models. And I always go to the wrong dimension because I haven't marked those 2. It's this one. Yeah, so this is our passive generation setup Majigabob, and we're going to automate deep mob learning on this wall. Maybe a bit higher. So remember, this time we don't need the loot fabricators, what we just need is simulation chambers. I have so many data models everywhere, it's gonna be a pain to find them. Okay, it has to be lower. So obviously all of them are going to require power. We're going to have a cable in the back. I'm not really sure how we are going to automate them, but we will figure out a way. But we're going to have rows of simulation chambers. I think we're also going to have sub-networks like so, with an import-export bus. Yeah, I went up ahead and set up all the simulation chambers. It's a total of 100. You know, 25, 25, 25, 25. I'm not sure if this system is going to work, but we're going to give it a test. So the way that it's working is that I have an energy condenser Mark II, and there is a storage bus on it. It's set on extract only, which we are going to set it up for every single energy condenser. On the other side of the cables, I have a dimensional chest, which is hooked up to our applied energistic system, and it has a filter, you know, for every single generalized matter. We don't care about them, so we just send them to our system. So every dimensional chest has a filter, which is lovely, I suppose. And every single energy condenser should be on extract only. Good. So we're going to take a few blocks of nether stars and prediction matrices. And what we want to do is to dupe prediction matrices. It's gone. Don't know how much nether stars we need, But I believe you guys already got the gist. We are going to do prediction matrices so that we don't have to craft them in our system. So you might notice between two simulation chambers, I have a double drawer. We're going to have two puller upgrades. One of them will be for up, one of them will be for down. So that it will put the prediction inside the drawers, right? That's the hope. I wanted to go home and bring a few data models, but we already have a lot. So let's go with Deer, I don't know, Minotaur. Oh yeah. The most important thing is that we want to export prediction matrices. And I have to copy and paste all the settings. Yeah, I just spend a lot of time placing down the machines. I have no idea if this works. Also, I don't mind getting the actual prediction, not the generalized one. Data models are a bit garbage. I might have to lock them first, but it does seem that the system works. Actually, that turned out really fine. We're getting all the predictions. The numbers don't really match because, for example, this one is self-aware. The rest of them are garbage. But I'm guessing you guys already understood how it works. So we do have two puller upgrades, pulling from down and up. And everything goes into the drawers and we're going to link it to our drawer controller. And yeah, even though we have a huge list, we also have a huge supply of data models. It's just that every time I have to remember to remove them. It does seem that that is all the data models that we have. We're missing a lot. It's 81 of them in total, I think. And we have 34. I also have the Chaos Dragon, but I didn't put it in. That one is a bit special. So I guess let us go to the dungeon one more time. I don't know. Try to find more. I know I don't have one for zombies. And there's a zombie. Villagers don't have a data model, right? No, they don't. Bye-bye. You know, the problem is that every time I have to check silverfish. Doesn't seem so, but there's one for cod. Phantoms and spiders I already have, but slimes I don't. I have the data model, it's faulty. Hello Zomboni. Oh, brand new room. With garbage. I love these guys, but they don't seem to have a data model. Don't you worry, I already have the maggot. That is a skeleton. Obviously, skeletons do have a data model, so we continue. With a sword. Wait, I just spawned in. Okay, I'm a bit confused. I saw something on the map. Anyways, I'll try to continue. We got one. Finally. And it was the most ridiculous dungeon ever. It's level 1. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to continue. If I find something of interest, I'll bring you in. Like those ones. One of their variant actually does have a data model. It's not them. See you in a while. I'm done with the dungeon, and unfortunately, I did just manage to upgrade 2 data models. That's it. Zombie and slime. But here's the plan. We're going to stop with the data models. You know, the basics. And of course, we're also going to focus on the seeds. Because for the data models, as I have already mentioned, I'm not really a fan of going to the dungeon and like hitting a mob for like 15 minutes. I do understand the reason that they have disabled the apotheosis gems. Because, you know, they wanted to encourage the fight. But honestly, fighting in Minecraft is really boring. I mean, I have personally tried everything. There's nothing which can kill the boss in like 1 minute. So if you guys also don't have a solution for me in the comment section of the previous episode, next episode we're going to enable apotheosis gems. It's in the mod pack, it's just disabled. But let's talk about seeds. So I have put the creative botany pot on auto crafting. Let's get 100. I'm not missing anything for the 100. That's new and weird. And well, first off, we're not going to soul surge anything anymore, and we are going to start with these seeds because they're an eyesore. Inferium, I don't think I need. For botany pots, we are also going to go with more or less the same setup, because remember, there's also like 81 more seeds. And we need every single essence, whether we need the resource or not. So we're going to have a row of pipes like so. I think any range will do, yes. And I have discovered that the best filtering system in this mod pack is actually the netherite barrel. Could be wrong, but it doesn't matter. So this part is fairly easy. We're just going to plant the crops. Oh, it's there. Okay. With the creative botany pot, they are actually going to grow relatively fast. We are going to get a few void upgrades for the barrel. You know, just to avoid the extra seeds, that fertilized essence, etc. And then we will import the rest to our system. Of course, the worst part of my life is that I have removed every single seed. I put them inside my backpack. And we're going to unclaim this area. I kind of liked it. But I think botany pots are going to be way better, and of course we're doing it inside the compact machine. Yeah, you see? They're actually way better. Anyways, let me set up a few more rows. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's all the seeds that we had. Literally everything. Well, I'm lying. We're not using the Inferium seeds, and I also have some obsidian seeds left, but I don't think we need them. Because I am getting obsidian from Deep Mob Learning, and it does have EMC. It's okay, you don't have to bug me. We plant them anyways. So this apparently is way faster than the growth accelerators, look. Well, actually this one has a stack upgrade. Look further. Of course, a hydroponic bed would have been way better. Those machines, if they were doing what they were intended to do, would have been way better. But we don't need that many of the tier 1, tier 2 super essences. At least that is the hope. And for resource generation, it's not that bad. We have our passive setup, we have a quarry. This is a substitute to a substitute. I wanted to use entangled blocks and a dimensional chest, but we're in the same dimension, right? That's interesting. Because we can just import it from here, right? You know, I mean, we don't need a dimensional chest. We can just import it to our system. Yeah, that is true. So, with our current seeds taken care of, there are a few small things that I want to do before we wrap up today's episode. One of them is that we had a few dissolvers over here and I wanted to dismantle them and I wanted to make the mega dissolver. You know, this guy over here. Unfortunately, that guy does require reactor glass from the alchemistry mod. And yeah, I need the combiner and I need the dissolvers. Basically what we need is some lead oxide and silicon dioxide. For silicon dioxide, you can just use deep slate, which is fine. And for getting the oxygen that I need for the lead oxide, I just dissolve some sucrose. It does give you a decent number. We don't need a crazy number. However, the thing is, we also need to have a combiner. So lead, oxygen. Lovely. And now that I'm thinking, maybe we need another combiner. It's too slow. So lead oxide, silicon dioxide, make me the glass, yes. Don't do stupid things. So now that we have our reactor glass, what else do we need? We're going to make the tier 2. So we go with gigantic, titanic. These machines are going to go in the basement because it's going to be easier to automate them in a flat area. And I guess we put you there. Wish the hatches were in the back, because then you would have been able to hide the cables. Right now you can't. Well, obviously you can always do everything with an entangled block. Yeah, this is way better. And I do have a cable. Also, I had no idea. This is brand new to me. But apparently, let me throw away the cables. If you have something available in your system and you middle click, it will just give you one stack. Maybe it was always like this, I just didn't know. I have made the mega dissolver and we are going to automate it because what we want to try and make is the ultimate chemical library ingot. We do have a total of 50 recipes and well, we have some compactors. Some of them are not just going to be a compactor, some of them are going to require a fission reactor and also a combiner, but that is the start. And no, it's not 50 of them, it's 52, cause symmetry. If I remember things correctly, these machines need to be locked. Yeah, otherwise they're just going to mess up the recipe. This is why we have one machine for every single recipe. You know, plus 2 extra. Each machine has a pattern provider as well as an import bus. So that's a total of... how many channels? Oh, it's 104, yes. Good number. I have set in a few patterns just for polonium for testing purposes, and if we want to get some polonium, we can. Let's order 1,000. So gas tiers will go in, we will get the polonium, the compactor is going to give us the dust, and then it goes into a pressurizer up there. However, over here, I also want to try and automate the ender crafter. Cause I don't know if it was noticeable or not, but I have removed them from there. I'm trying to clean up. A bit. I have been also reading online and it does seem that the ender crafter has a range of 4 blocks for the alternators. So it's a 9x9x9. We're not going to go that crazy. Just to make sure everything is symmetrical, that is the center. So that is our brand new center. We covered the rest. Yeah, that does seem to be a 9x9. Let's fill it in. Oops. We need more alternators. I don't know, give me 1,000. We throw away the rest, obviously. Somewhere in the center, we're going to have the actual crafter. And I'll try to hook it up to our applied energistic system. And we need to have 2 of them. So yeah, the other one is also ready. I have assembled them both and I think yeah, it's 6 blocks deep. But that should be fast enough for whatever recipe we want to handle. There's like 3 pages of recipes, some of them are for blocks, some of them are for duplicate items. So we're just going to divide them between the 2 machines. Wait, you have something for a brew stand? Interesting. So we want the Ender Star block, we want the Super block, and I guess the final one is just going to be for Enhanced Ender. Okay, we save you, and voila, Enhanced Ender. Also, I just realized you can make black iron with this. Is it more efficient? That's 48, right? Yeah, for some reason, I don't think it's worth it. That's even 36. Yeah, we go with our normal recipe. We're not going to use the Ender Crafter. So either I read it wrong or it's wrong. The range is 3 blocks. But let's order like 200 blocks. It's decently fast. Yeah, we just remove this row, it's fine. Alright ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of the Ender Crafter, but there is another crafter as well. It's called a Flux Crafter. So apparently the only thing that it does is that it gives you an enhanced redstone ingot, which you use in the ultimate ingot, and also in order to make Infinity 10. So I don't really think you have to go that crazy, right? Maybe a smaller setup somewhere else will be fine. But again, just before we wrap up the episode, there's literally one more thing. It's a very teeny tiny and stupid and very temporary thing. We're going to have a reactor. This is a reactor from Extreme's Reactors mod, and the only job that it has is to give us enough blocks of cyanide. So there's not going to be a coolant, there's not going to be anything, just a few rods. Why am I missing one block? Yeah. What a jerk. But in any case, remember, we do need to get some cyanide in order to make frost crystals. Oh, and also for the ultimate ingot, I didn't know that. But yeah, this frost crystal. We need it for the crystalline ingot as well as a bunch of other things. But cyanide does have a seed, so we don't really need to run a reactor. That is one stack of uranium blocks. We shall turn you on. Again, we just want the waste. I think every 1000 millibuckets should be one ingot, right? Yes. We got one ingot. For the seed itself, we just need 8 blocks, and it does not require a block to be planted on. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.